Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you, Yao, and everyone who introduced me. Thank you for your kind words. It's a pleasure to be here, and I thank SP Ghana for the opportunity to interact with fellow professionals in the industry. So I will share my screen. Um, please confirm my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, your screen is very visible
All right.
and
Thank
you
you
are
very much.
audible. Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. All right. Okay. So before I begin, allow me to make a quick disclaimer. So the protocols of my organization requires that I put across this disclaimer. So for today, I am speaking not for or on behalf of the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, but in my personal capacity as a health and safety professional. Okay. All right. Thank you. So, as Sarah has already mentioned, that this industry that we work in, the oil and gas and even other related sectors, is a very volatile industry where safety is very critical. And whenever safety is compromised, it brings about some irreversible consequences. We in Ghana, for example, have experienced several incidents, some in some filling stations where people have been highly impacted. Some have been burnt beyond recognition. Some even died, properties destroyed. So for today, we would like to have a conversation about the role of leadership in shaping safety culture within our industry and related industries. Okay. So to begin, I would like us to analyze two themes that we can typically find within our industry setting or within our workplaces. The first theme I will describe as Liz's team, where Liz is the leader of that particular team. And the second team I will describe as Joan's team. Now, for Liz's team, this is a team that is typically very quiet and very disengaged. They don't communicate, they don't speak in meetings. Sometimes they would even fall asleep when meetings are ongoing. They are very competent people, but they have to be practically be reminded every time to do what is right. As simple as wearing PPEs, they wouldn't do it unless their leader or supervisor tells them what to do. When it comes to risk assessment, they know they must do reassessment for every job they do. They wouldn't do it. Even when the task changes, they must review the reassessment, they wouldn't do it unless they are again reminded what to do. They will not report near misses. They would, even when they will report it, the miss is so big that everybody can notice that particular near miss. They make the leader very frustrated. Now, John's team, on the other hand, is a direct opposite of Liz's team. They are very cooperative, they contribute to safety, they report incidents proactively, and they are very engaging. Now, my question to you this afternoon is, if you are given the opportunity to lead any of these teams, which of these teams will you be willing to lead? I believe your guess is as good as mine because every leader, every person would like to lead a team that is very cooperative. But the question again is Joan just lucky or there is something Joan is doing differently that Liz is failing to do? So as discussions progress, we would like to examine how leadership approach influences the type of culture that we see in the environment even as we may find in these two settings. Let's look at how the trend is like for leadership today. A recent study was conducted and about 7,600 people were sampled. And at the end of the research, they came up with some interesting findings. About 40% of employees rated their bosses as bad, and about 75% considered their boss as the most stressful part of their job. About 32% of these workers reported that their supervisors lack clear vision and direction, which means that because they lack clear vision and direction, they are not clear about their performance expectations, so leading to a lot of confusion. About 1/3 of these employees feel very disconnected from their leaders. Because of that, they feel very isolated and lonely in their place of work. The question again for reflection this afternoon is that you have led some group of people in the past, and you may be leading a group of people today. The young professionals among us may be leading people tomorrow. If your team is sampled anonymously to provide feedback on you as a leader, which of these categories do you think you may belong? It's an opportunity for us to reflect, considering how we could be rated by our subordinates, to reflect on our leadership style. Now, since some people might have led in the past and they might be leading people, and some have experienced leaders before, I would like you to use one word to describe what you think leadership is not. This time around, maybe you can input your responses in the chat sections. I want to see some few responses. What you think leadership is not. A word to describe. Someone is saying leadership is not bias, not overcompensating, incompetent, self-seeking, representation. Okay, interesting. Last one is not laziness. Thank you. All right. Now, on the other hand, what do you think leadership should be? Someone is saying that it's not dictatorship. That's very good. It's not control. So now let's also share what we think leadership is then. We've looked at what leadership is not and what leadership is. Somebody saying leadership is empathy. Great. Leadership is care. Wonderful. Great, very wonderful responses. Teamwork. Thank you very much for your responses. Thank you. So we continue. Yes, we all have different opinion or views about what leadership is and what leadership is not. Now, let's look at how leadership is described by one of the former presidents of the United States of America. According to him, he says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. In your team, in your organization, as a leader, as a supervisor, as a manager, as a director, do you think your actions that you've taken in the past, your actions or inactions, inspired your team to dream more and become a better version of yourself? If not, then it's time to reflect on these key thematic areas and see where you need to make some adjustments. Now, you will all agree with me that many people or many employees spend majority of their time in the work environment. But we should keep in mind that leadership has a propensity to affect mental health of our people, positively or negatively. Let's look at some interesting statistics. So, based on a research done by the Workforce Institute in the UK, they considered how a therapist, your GP, which is a personal doctor, your partner, that is your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband or wife, and your manager could have impact on your mental health. At the end, it came out that a therapist, which I believe most of us think can help you based on for your mental health well-being, has only about 41% chance of doing that. Your medical doctor has about 51% chance. However, your life partner and your manager has about 69% chance of influencing or impacting your mental health positively or negatively. So if you, a supervisor or a leader, know that this is how much you can have impact on your people, then it is time for you to reflect upon the things you do every day. A classical example is that it has been found that as simple as cordial or caring communications or conversations between a manager and their subordinates whilst they are on sick leave can shorten how fast they return to the workplace. So it means that that show of care and concern can help your team heal and return to work faster. Now, we've talked about leadership, and we also acknowledge that the leadership approach in the workplace can influence the culture we find, just as we found the case of Liz and Joan. In my basic education, I remember we learned that culture is the way a group of people live. Now, an experienced health and safety professional put culture in a very interesting way. He says, safety culture is a mindset that has its roots in the organization's policies, philosophies, and management approaches, which means that everything you do in the work environment, what you are known for, must have its root in principle. You can't apply one rule on one occasion and another rule on a different occasion and expect consistent results. Everything must follow the rules, must follow the procedures, must follow the laid down principles established by the organization. Then the organization will have an identity. When your organization is mentioned today, what do you think what the first word will come to the mind of observers, of neighbors, and your employees, and even your customers? The first word that comes to mind is describing the the culture that you are exhibiting within that work environment. Now, I would like us to put that in mind as we review a very notable incident which has happened in the history of oil and gas. I believe many of you have come across this incident, and some may come across this incident in your books or in your safety documentations in future, which is the Deepwater Horizon incident, which happened in 2010. This incident was very devastating at the time. It resulted in about 11 fatalities, about 26 injuries, over 8,000 marine animals were affected, and in terms of cost, both direct and indirect, in excess of $65 billion. That's how serious it was. Now, at the end of the investigation of this incident, certain key failures were identified, which has a bearing on the type of culture that they had in the environment. The first thing they noticed was that there was prioritization of profit over safety. Safety was not as important as it should be for them. There was normalization of deviance. When something is going wrong, it was okay. Somebody can break the rules and then nothing is done. There was failure to address known hazards. Even things they spotted themselves, they didn't do anything about it. When inspections are done, by regulators or experts, or maybe an asset integrity inspection, maintenance, whatever has come up, they don't even bother about the recommendations from the experts. There was poor record keeping, so it was difficult to come up with trends and tell what is going on or where the direction of things occurring are heading. Shortcuts became the order of the day. Another interesting thing was, among the people who were interviewed, the CEO was interviewed at the time. It will interest you some of the comments and responses he made. In response to the question, some of them he will say, I can't possibly know why the decisions were made on the rig at the time. I can't answer because I wasn't there. I'm afraid I can't recall the decisions that were made. He is not a party to it. The question is that you are professionals. Tomorrow, if there's an occurrence and you are invited to support or to assist with the investigations, and you make comment of this nature, what impression do you think you would make of yourself and of the organization? The response from the CEO clearly tells everyone that it confirms the culture that at the time BP Petroleum exhibited, which eventually resulted in this very serious incident, hence the consequences that were found. Now, what traditional approach to safety do we see around these days? Most organizations focus on employee errors. They will rather find it convenient to blame an employee for doing something wrong. Back at homes, as to say, someone could try to insult someone with a gesture by pointing his fingers like this or her fingers like this. And as the thumb points to the person, is forgetting that 4 fingers are pointing to himself or herself. The question is that, do you think that it is employees that their errors is all that led to the incident? We need to ensure that what people sometimes just think safety should be relegated to the background and go in normal business without making safety a top priority. People just want to be in good shape when the regulators or inspectors come into inspections. Paperwork is done for paperwork's sake. When there are audits and a record should be kept from the beginning of the year, some people can use 1 or 2 weeks to put it all together because they know that the regulators will request for sampling and to be able to test or check the compliance to the systems. But what should be the enlightened approach, considering all that we have discussed previously? Safety must be managed or given the same priority as every other business, not prioritizing profit over safety, as we saw in the case of the Deepwater Horizon. We should focus on building our workplace approaches in management systems. There must be clearly defined approach to investigation, to operating a particular equipment, and to doing everything so that there will be consistency in the work environment. The last but not least is we need to empower employees at all levels to take responsibility for their safety. In the photograph we see above, you will see that the management is actually encouraging the young man probably have taken a very serious or very important safety initiative. Encourage when you need to encourage and correct when you need to correct. In the second photograph, maybe the employee operated an equipment wrongly and then it led into an accident. Instead of just pointing fingers and blaming, you need to be supportive and show concern and understand why he or she did what he did, because there could be other reasons that you may not have considered. Now, whilst we wrap up our conversation, there's some few things I need you to take note of. One, we need to show personal concern to your employees to get to know them better. At higher levels, top management need to ensure that there's clarity in responsibility to other functional or sectional managers to understand what their responsibilities are in supporting the health and safety of the organization. It shouldn't be ambiguous, where maybe on one occasion, one shows a particular trait and another person shows another. We must always outline the behaviors we want to see. If you speak about what you want to see more regularly, there are higher chances that people will begin to exhibit them. We should find ways to measure safe behavior. The same way we can identify when things go wrong, we should also find creative ways to identify when people do things. And once they are identified and they are encouraged, there are chances that they will continue to do even better. You should never turn a blind eye to safety. If something is done wrongly and then you turn a blind eye, pretend you did not see, it means that you have consented to it. So you may find many people doing the same thing and you cannot complain. We should always show interest to understand what motivates people. On one occasion, somebody could find a plaque presented by the CEO very interesting. On another occasion, maybe an email from the CEO to every staff could be very interesting for the person. On another occasion, maybe tangible gifts could be present. So you should get to know your employees. You should never ridicule any injury or near miss. Imagine if an employee comes to your office or standing in front of your office to talk to you. Then you are in the middle of a discussion, you pause the conversation, and the employee enters and shares with you a near miss that just happened. Then the manager goes and say, is that the reason why you interrupted my meeting? I thought it was something important. And you make ridicule of it. There are higher chances that that employee may never show up in your office again or talk about anything that is important to be reported. And if colleagues get to know this how that person was treated, they may also not report on any incident or report anything that you need to know. You should take walkabout as regular as needed. Very important to go around. And when you are going around, you need to keep some notebook and some pen with you because you may make observations when it is not planned, either positive or negative. So you should have writing materials handy. If possible, try and make time to attend certain trainings that your employees attend. It will help you to understand why they do the things they do, and to also give you sometimes to know the approach to use to influence their behaviors. We must be seen as leaders to be very proactive and not be reactive to incidents or things where when things go wrong, that we are seen to be doing something good. You should never shoot the messenger. If an information comes to you and then the person who reported is the one who is in trouble, then you would have an environment just as Liz had. Team that will not speak. They will not show any concern or share any ideas. You should not let meetings become just for meeting's sake or rubber stamp meetings, as somebody would describe it. When actions come up, findings are made in inspections, we should endeavor to keep track of these actions and close them at the right time. The last but not the least is to remember to provide feedback to your team. Based on an experiment that was done, for the sake of time, I cannot elaborate that. It was discovered that anytime you give a positive feedback to your team, they would be encouraged and they would do what they've done to earn that appreciation more. If you give them negative feedback, they could also make a reflection and make amendment. But when you don't give any feedback, there is total silence. It leads to confusion, and then they will be unsure if what they did is right or wrong, and then they may rather do what you do not even expect them to do. So you need to ensure that we provide adequate feedback to our team members. In conclusion, I would like you to also remember that the goal of getting zero in terms of incidents in the workplace is possible, but it doesn't happen by magic. It happens with hard work. We should also keep in mind that employees are not stupid just to injure themselves or to cause harm to other people. When it happens, there are many reasons that could lead to that occurrence. We should also remember that every accident is an indication of a failure in leadership. So it's an opportunity for you to reflect and see what you could have done as a leader different to prevent that from happening. We should also remember that leadership is a choice. It's that you have a choice to be a good leader or to be a bad leader. And I encourage every one of us to be leaders that influence people. Leaders, as the president of the United States of America has described, as leaders whose actions inspire others to do more and become a better version of themselves. Thank you very much for your attention.
Wow, Mr. Samuel, what a presentation. Thank you so much for the insightful presentation. It was very clear. You gave us an in-depth perspective, and it was really touching to understand the foundation of where we go wrong, where we must brace ourselves to even engage further as safety professionals. So that I cannot dilute your words, I know the questions and the clarity are burning in our members. Allow me to welcome Mr. Emmanuel Damoa to present, and then we will combine the questions from the participants together. Thank you. Mr. Damoa, you can hear me? Yes, your screen is visible, but you are on mute.
My screen visible.
Yes, sir, it is.
Has the next slide come? Can you see the next slide?
Just click it, it's still, okay, yes, it's moving.
All right, I need to show
Thank you.
video. Currently, I am at a place far from Accra, and I had to stay over to do this presentation. Initially, I wanted to drive to the office, but I realized I can't make it, given the time and then the distance and all that. So I decided to have this presentation in Tema, which is one industrial hub of Ghana. And those of us on the call will know the Free Zones Enclave. So I'm glad I'm doing this. Thank you so much, Manager, for that insightful presentation. It was very good and I enjoyed it. So Manager did a bit of the, should I say, the engagement part where we are looking at the trends in the industry, we are looking at the scenarios, some examples, some incident that has occurred, etc. And then this part of the presentation would also touch on some basic details just to complement what he has already shared. And one thing that really struck me that was that an incident happens on site, it tells you that, hey, there is a failure or there is a challenge as far as leadership commitment is concerned. So it's a very good one from him. All right, so let's quickly zoom into my presentation. Because of time, oh, I lost it here. Because of time, I would quickly move my slides. Can we all read back to the basics of safety? If you can read, you can just unmute and just mention your name and say. All right. So Sarah, I've seen Emmanuel's reaction. I've seen Rich Love's reaction. Yeah. So Rich Love, what do you see on the screen? Any opportunities for sharing? Or Emmanuel, Rich Love Emmanuel, we have a nice image or a picture on the screen on your left-hand side. What do you make of the picture? Anybody else on the call to share any insights? Any opportunities for learning? I hope I'm audible. So yeah, so let's say it's lack of safety awareness. Any other person? Unsafe act. Okay, from Benedict. All right, carry on. So we have Leslie and Benedict. Any other? We want a lady to also share her opinion on it. All of them overloaded vehicle. All right, so opportunity for prone to hazard. All right, thanks. They're enjoying bad safety culture. Risks of 4. Great. Woman is just about to pull the trigger. Great. So we can see or we can experience a lot of that bad team member. All right, it's fine. Me and I'm saying me pay more examples now. It's okay. Oh yeah. All right. So we can see that at the slightest trigger, I mean, where we are not focusing on the job, where we are dealing with risk, where we are looking at the likelihood or the probability of the hazardous events occurring, and then the impact. Someone will tell you if the car accidentally breaks, the lady might open it. Someone will tell you that if they are negotiating or having a sharp curve, it can happen. And someone would even tell you that it's a no thing for employees or for people to sit in the bucket. For the sake of my internet, let me quickly put up the video so that I can flow up. So someone is asking, is it poor risk perception? Is it lack of safety awareness? Ignorance? What exactly is the trouble here? Can someone confirm if my screen is visible? Hello, am I visible?
Yes.
Great.
Your screen is visible.
At risk behavior, unsafe act, no duty of care. If we are working and we are 2, whoever that owns the job is the supervisor for that very function. If we are working as a lone worker, then you are your own supervisor, not any other person. And so safety has come to stay. Safety has become the ingredients for preparing whichever soup or stew we want to do at the workplace. Without it, it won't be better. Previously, we would have said salt, because salt makes food taste better and all that. But as health and well-being advances, we are trying to minimize the intake of salt. So let's say it remains that key ingredient for workplace safety. Unless I enjoyed this video, I don't know when I'm not sure the video will come because I can't. Okay. A moment. I deliberately went off screen because I want to be sure I can add the sound when I'm playing the video. So for this very one, I'm off. Is it audible? If it's audible, someone can just type to the sound. Is it audible? Can someone confirm if the video is audible?
Wait. My apple.
So for this one, I'll call out names so that we can talk about the video. So Joshua Ashite or Ashite, I just randomly picked just a name. Joshua, if on the call, how was the video and what are you learning from it? Joshua, is there a way we can track participants? Daniel, is there a way we can find out?
Mr. Demo, the video is breaking, so perhaps if you can mute it.
All right, but I'm sure we all got it from the first one, right?
Yes, we got it from the first time.
The first one was great. All right, so this is a video that actually walks you through series of events and what can go wrong if we ignore the little things at the workplace. I would have want it to be very interactive because it's a video that speaks a lot. I went for one safety conference at the University of Ghana and we had a Nigerian visiting speaker who shared this very video. And anytime I share it during my presentation, I get a lot of insights. It's like every day this video speaks a lot to us. So those of us on the call, whether you're a student or a professional, you are in a managerial position, whatever portfolio you find yourself, the video tells us to break one chain before it leads to multiple incidents and even the ripple effect at the end of the day. We want to take charge of the basic things that compromises health and safety. So the video has a beginning that says break the chain. So you could see that. Let me play again. If it's breaking, just prompt me, I will stop. But I want to run a small commentary on it. And then it's breaking. It's still breaking. So you let me move on. Let me move on. It's still breaking. All right. So we are looking at how small technologies can make big safety impacts in the workplace. So this is something I'm sharing with the young professionals on the call, even those of us who are already to mainstream HSC. Let me issue this note or advice. Do not scan the QR code there. It's just for presentation purpose. Even without expensive systems, organizations can significantly improve their safety by adopting simple, scalable technologies. We know we are zooming into an era where we are doing more of the remote work. I mean, it's demand. We are doing the ROI, that's the return on investment. We are calling for flexible work, AI, digitalization, etc. If your company is not an out and out in terms of budget allocation, in terms of fully fledged compliance, you the HSE person, you the petroleum engineer, depending on where you are coming from, you might have challenges with budgets. They might give you, but it will be for basic PPEs and all that, and so on. Now, what we can do is that instead of the usual or the traditional box where we have it as suggestion box or near miss box, you can quickly replace it with QR code where you just scan it and then it's linked to a Google form. You have the date, the time, name of the person reporting, you make it optional. It gives you the opportunity to take a picture and add. And when you are done, you click submit. It goes directly to the HSE database. And this is better than the traditional WhatsApp that we have. WhatsApp group might have other informations which are not relevant for our WhatsApp group. It might be an HSE WhatsApp group or employees of whichever company A or company B. But people who post politics, football, daily devotions, and a few of relevant information that would fit our purpose. And so WhatsApp groups are normally flooded with, in quote, irrelevant messages. But creating a QR code and then putting these scans or printing them out, and you put the codes in the washrooms, changing houses, canteen, workshop, security gates, car park, etc. If the employee sees any near miss, an unsafe act or an incident, the broader perspective, can quickly scan the QR code and report it there and there. So if the manager is in the, has traveled, is in the house, is in the office, wherever, quickly it beeps or it sends notification to the HSE dashboard or database. And then they're able to, sort of review the report. There's nothing like, oh, I sent it 2 days ago, I sent it yesterday, and you have to scroll and go and look for it. No. So these are small ways we can actually leverage on technology to make big impacts at the workplace. Those of us that we are starting, we are doing national service, we are doing internship and graduate trainees. When you go to the office on Monday, propose it to your safety manager that you want the company to replace the traditional near miss reporting box and those writing and hazard book with a QR code where employees will just scan it and quickly submit. It's a change, it's a technological improvement or a strategy, and it won't be easy for people to accept it just like that. Be ready to engage your team, be ready to sensitize them, be ready to walk them through how it's been done, and then especially those of your team members on using smartphones, you can quickly work with it. So the slide is clear, messages get buried, photos are mixed with jokes and irrelevant content, etc. My last but one slide also says that how it works, I've already explained by way of adding up the QR codes at gates, workshop, welfare areas, work front, car park, security post, etc. And then they scan it and you attach it to a simple Google form or Microsoft form. They have the option to upload the photo or the video or the location. And one good thing is that you create it to reflect anonymous reporting. They don't want to disclose their identity and all that. And why it works, paper forms often get torn, wet or lost. So the traditional means of writing, hazard reporting on sheet and all that, like we've still been doing. I happen to work in a mine. I happen to work in an oil and gas firm, manufacturing. We go by this traditional method. Even today, we still use it. Your Take 5, your JHA and all that. You need to put them on paper and submit it for approval, especially when you're doing your permit to work and all that. Why can't we digitalize some of these things, especially for record keeping and all that? Yes, there might be issues of verification, but when we start, we might do away with a lot of papers and all that. And that's why HSE officers, we keep filing and filing and filing and filing. We can look at a digital way of doing it. And trends can be analyzed when you have it in a digitalized form. We can say, okay, for 5 weeks or let's say 4 weeks in a month, we're able to record about 3 near misses. We're able to record about 5 unsafe acts, unsafe conditions. You can see that workshop has a chunk of the hazards being reported. Then you go to the workshop. So the system is able to do these trends, analyze the locations, tell you who is reporting at what time, which department reported more hazards, if you want to reward them, etc. So it's just a shift in our mindsets and what we can do to improve basic workplace safety. And today's session reminded us that safety failures rarely starts with big incidents, like we saw in the video. They start with small unsafe acts and conditions we normally ignore. We also learned that improving safety doesn't always require huge investments. The QR code advice I just shared, or the practical demonstration I just gave, it's just practical tool that can make your reporting very easy and make a big difference. As we wrap up, let's commit to these 3 things. Act immediately when we see something unsafe. Use technology to strengthen our safety culture. Lead by example so others will follow the right behaviors. Together, we can build safer workplaces. One decision, one hazard correction, one QR code scan at a time. Thank you so much. My name is Damoa Emmanuel Nyako.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Damoa. What a brief, concise presentation. I didn't know about the QR code. That can be a life-changing PI reporter or a near miss reporter, and things can be closed very fast instead of getting papers, going round and round with the field, understanding what happened. Things can actually get fast within a click on the phone and all that. Thank you so much, also Mr. Samuel, for your insightful presentation earlier today when you shared the lessons from the Deepwater Horizon, as well as the basic human character, decency, empathy that senior professionals need to have, especially supervisors, managers present in the industry, in the field to support the safety, the culture, literally everything of the organization. This is the time now where if you have a question, participants, you can raise your hand or type it on the chat box and I'll be able to escalate it to our presenters. Yes, Stanley, kindly proceed. Mr. Stanley, you can unmute. Daniel, if you can hear me, you can assist in unmuting his mic.
All right. Good evening to us, or good afternoon. I don't know. Really had a good time here. I mean, looking at the combination of experienced professionals like Mr. Sam and then Giant Damus. So I just want to ask, or I just put it across, looking at where most of us fellowship, like our religious gatherings and the rest, like churches, mosques, and all of that. We are professionals. We are people who care about safety and all of that. So these are places where we spend time, maybe if not most of the time, sometimes looking at the aspect of noise, lights, etc. How can we look at it largely? Because sometimes when you want to speak about it, it looks like you are I don't know how to say you are against God's work or something like that. So it's a bit like a gray area a lot of people wouldn't want to speak about. So I want us to, I don't know if it's something that we can look at. Look, as we are building a strong, we are looking at, or we are seeking to build a strong safety culture. When we look at that aspect, what can we also do? Thank you.
Nice. Yes, Mr. Samuel, you can proceed.
All right. Thank you very much, Stanley, for that question. Yes, so we can take the church environments just as our workplaces. The church is made up of different people from different backgrounds, just as you have in your work environment. So you can consider speaking with the church administration so they can give slots or opportunities for you to sensitize the people. So once you begin to have those opportunities to sensitize the people, talking about safety in their homes, how they can implement safety. We've had incidents in the country where people do not store their gas cylinders properly. People get trapped. People who they are building, they put a bugger proof in a way that there is no room for escape. People got trapped. People actually died while holding bugger proof because they got stuck on it. When you begin to work on the people's mind, the attitude change, then it will get to a point that you can offer to be able to do assessment around the church environment. This assessment could be done by yourself and a few other volunteers, where you look at things holistically, not just focusing on only the sound or noise part, but all the other safety. You'll be surprised to go to some churches where there is not a single fire extinguisher. You'll be surprised to go to a church where there is no ramp even for physically challenged people, and many other hygiene facilities are not even in the best of state. So it's a very holistic way to approach this thing. And once you do this assessment, you submit a very detailed report providing justifications. And most of the time, because you're working on people's mind, when it is time to solicit support, even from the church, to be able to implement some of the recommendations you make, because people's mind are renewed, they will be able to support a good cause. So I think it's something that you need to look at not only on one dimension, but it should be collaborative and very enlightening. I hope I have answered your question, but I believe Emmanuel can add something more if he has some contribution.
Nice. Yes, Mr. Emmanuel, you can hear us.
Tim, I'm okay with the response he gave. I'm currently engaged with another thing, so I'm okay with it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Emmanuel, thank you so much. Perhaps if I can engage Mr. Samuel. Myself, first of all, I forgot to introduce, to have an introduction in the beginning. I am a safety enthusiast, a safety manager, and in an oil and gas company. And I know the challenges that we face are not easy, especially most of these things are not even technical, they are behavioral based. It's more of people, maybe they don't know, it's arrogance, ignorance, and it really needs someone to be very empathetical and understanding to change the entire culture and trajectory. To be fair and not to be stereotypical, Africa is as a continent, safety, it looks like it's a new thing. So our people are not used to adopting to the levels of, the disciplines that it requires for them to conduct the procedures, just the basic culture that someone needs to have when they are doing their work. And perhaps maybe Samuel, you could also enlighten us, and I would also like to understand from your end, what are the 2 or 3 leading indicators that you're so consistent with in your organization or wherever place you have worked with, that you think it is almost like a must to be followed for safety to be established in an organization?
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much for the question. Yeah. Well, so first of all, I think that for me, one of the first things I do when I enter a new work environment is to do an assessment of the culture within the work environment. It is important to assess. You should know what you are dealing with. So you should assess the culture of the people. And for me, the methodology I use is I develop a questionnaire where the questionnaire has 2 dimensions. So there are a certain set of questions that are designed for the employees, where they will be assessing their own actions they will take under different circumstances, the actions they think their colleagues will take, and then they also share their views on the management approach to safety. Then, in terms of
Yeah.
leadership, they also answer questions that has to do with their commitment, willingness to provide resources, and then the behavior of their team, and amongst other things. Having examined or assessed the state of your workplace, you can classify your safety culture in levels as fundamental, intermediate, growing, or excellent. So on these levels, you can set specific key performance indicators across these levels. Some of the indicators that are common, or I would want to ensure that at all times I keep an eye on them, is the proactive way of report, which is reporting of near misses, reporting of potential incidents, and reporting of unsafe acts, which as one category. If you read the entire report of the Deepwater Horizon, you would notice that they actually celebrated a certain significant number of days without incident, and the next day or two, that incident occurred. Chances are that
Yeah.
Because they celebrate no incidents more than celebrating probably a proactive reporting, it would have happened, but because people don't want to lose bonuses, they want to lose salary increase and other things, they may stop reporting. So you should also ensure that there's level of reporting of this proactive incident, or in terms of unsafe acts, on potential incidents, near misses, and all of that other. Then secondly, you also want to look at the level of engagement, that is the consultation and participation. How many times have meetings been held? Two different forums, two boss meetings, management meetings, sectional meetings, for you to be deliberate on issues. You also keep track on this leading indicator. Then the last but not least, in the context as you presented, would be the ability to investigate all the incidents reported or follow up on actions. So you should track the number of incidents reported, you track number of actions closed to tell you where you are, so that things that don't become rubber stamp. Because once you don't follow up on actions, there are chances that you would not give feedback to the people. Sometimes the employees reported on something or an incident occurred. During a next meeting or toolbox meeting, you should share feedback on what actions have been taken, and what actions are left to be taken, and what resources are going to be committed to close out these actions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Thank you so much, our participants. Thank you so much, our organizers for this session today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of an insightful session. I want to sincerely thank all of you for your engagement and contribution throughout. It has been an honor moderating this space between SPE Kenya and SPE Ghana. At this point, I will gracefully step aside and invite Madam Richlove to close the session for us this evening. Thank you so much and have a blessed evening. Madam Richmond, over to you.
Hello. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone on the call. I want to thank the SPE Petroleum, SPE Ghana and Kenya section for for collaborating and organizing this essential time with senior professionals, and to our esteemed speakers, Samuel, Emmanuel, and Sarah. Your professional guidance has been invaluable in reinforcing that safety is truly a core value and not just a metric. Before we conclude, please remember two vital things and one personal takeaway I'm giving to everyone that resonates across all roles. One, protect your health. True safety begins with self-care, and a healthy mind and body are your greatest assets, and a healthy you is a safer you for yourself and those around you. In addition to a good leadership. And secondly, stay alert. Awareness is your first line of defense, and a little alertness can prevent big problems. Finally, I want to thank you once again for your attendance and for your commitment to the safety imperative in the oil and gas sector. So we are now officially adjourned. We will also love to hear your feedback, so you can reach to us, and your feedback is also important to keep up the good work we are doing. Okay, thank you.